Maybe I'm crazy, but pineapple on pizza should be illegal. Yes.
No.
No, I'm pretty sure it should.
No.
Yes. And I'm a big pineapple consumer.
What?
We're big pineapple people.
Are you saying pineapple shouldn't be on pizza?
Correct, yes.
I don't want to ruin the whole open, but you're saying pineapple should not be on pizza.
It should not, no.
Blasphemy.
We'll get to it later.
Okay.
Maybe I'm crazy, maybe I'm crazy, maybe I'm not, maybe I'm not.
Welcome to Maybe I'm Crazy podcast. I'm Joy Taylor. That's Brandon Newman.
Hola.
Matt Barnes joins us today.
Yes.
UCLA alum, NBA champion.
UCLA alum up top.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's a UCLA household.
Yeah, this is Matt Barnes.
UCLA family now.
Yeah,
we talk about Kyler Murray.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, there's a lot going on with Kyler Murray. Antonio Brown, the Eastern Conference is going to be interesting. Zion Williamson, Space Jam 2. We like to cast films, so we're just going to do that.
Why not?
It's probably the most fun imaginary casting. It's pretty good though. I'm pretty sure we should just cast it.
Yes.
Petty courts. People are coming for LeBron. Shocker. Ja Rule. Obviously, we're going to discuss the future illegal pizza with pineapple on it. The Oscars a lot happened at the Oscars.
Yes.
So we're going to talk about that too. But let's get started with Matt Barnes. All right, Matt Barnes, welcome back.
Hey.
Thank you.
Good to have you. Family.
Good to be back. Absolutely.
Yeah,
And there's
Appreciate
like
it.
guests, and there's friends of the show, and then there's family. I'm
Because
just
then
gonna say,
everybody going to expect that type of introduction.
no, everybody doesn't get that introduction.
Okay.
It's not how it works.
Everybody's not family.
That's
Yeah,
true.
exactly.
Straight up.
But thanks for joining us. It's been a
Thank
little
you.
crazy here in Los Angeles with the basketball lately, and everyone's talking about LeBron. So let's just start there. Is everything LeBron's fault?
No, not at all. It's definitely a team effort. But I think the overall chemistry and focus of the team is a lot on LeBron's shoulders, a lot on Rich Paul's shoulders, a lot on Magic Johnson's shoulders.
Rich Paul?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think that the whole trade deadline debacle of trying to force somebody's hand backfired. You know what I mean? So you're trying to tell, now LeBron is trying to tell every one of his single teammates, like, I believe in you, I need you to do this, I need you to do that, when just 2 weeks ago you were trying to throw everybody to the fire. You know, so I said it's important. Chemistry, you can never outweigh chemistry. Everything looks good on paper, but chemistry is king, and you can tell right now they don't have that.
So we talked about that a lot, like the mental element of being in trade talks and then not being traded,
Right.
and what that like wave of emotion, and then that was like basically 2 weeks, almost 3 weeks of that for these guys. And you know, everyone talks about like it's part of the business, which is very easy to say. Like lots of things are like part of the business, like especially with celebrities, just like it's part of the business, like. Okay, yeah, it is, but that doesn't make it any less horrible to experience. Like, just because it's not your experience.
Afraid to answer your phone, afraid to look at your phone.
Right.
Like, am I going to be traded? Waking up to like, I mean, I lived it.
But you lived it. So what is that like emotionally?
It's tough.
Like?
It's tough. I mean, it's hard to, like you said, it's easier said than done to stay focused. You know, fortunately, I was able to stay focused and still play my game, but I was older when it happened. You know, I was late 20s, early 30s when I was happening. These guys are rookies in early 20s, you know, 2-3 years in the league. So it's a lot, you know, and especially too, LeBron came here. This team is supposed to do X, Y, and Z. You're playing for the Lakers. It's supposed to be a new day. And then, you know, to their credit, I mean, fourth in the West before he gets hurt. You know, they lose Lonzo, who's a huge underrated piece to that team. And then, like I said, the trade deadline, I think, really fractured that locker room. So it's going to be hard to get all those guys back on the same page in time to make the playoffs. But then at the end of the day, what are you really going to the playoffs for? To play the Warriors and extending your season for 2 more weeks? Because you know the Warriors are going to run them out of the building.
Well, I think what they're going to the playoffs for, in my opinion, is you don't want to run into one of those things we like, he who shall not be named, Jordan with the Wizards situation. And I'm not saying it's like that, but
You going to playoffs for ego? Because at this point in time, that's the only way you're going.
Well, first of all, it's not good for the league if LeBron James is not in the playoffs. We can all agree on that. As much as like the East is going to be very exciting to watch and the West is definitely going to be interesting, LeBron is king of content. So LeBron not in the playoffs is going to be as much of a story as LeBron in the playoffs, but in a very, very negative way. Because here's the thing. LeBron is a polarizing player, and he spent all of his career up until this point in the Eastern Conference. And if the first time he gets to the West, the very first year he misses the playoffs, I don't know what to say.
Okay.
They're going to say that at the end of his career.
But if we're talking about very first variables, is this not the very first time that he was injured? It's not the very first time. Obviously, going over to the West Coast, like these are big factors that can go into history. Like there's going to be an asterisk.
Don't care about that.
There's going to be an asterisk on this season, regardless, though.
Right, but we went into the season thinking that there wasn't high expectations, and it's like everyone forgot it's LeBron James and the Lakers in Los Angeles.
They play their way into fourth into the West before he gets injured. Like, yeah, like expectations start to build as we see the potential of this team, and then when LeBron gets ripped from it and those guys fall apart, forget the trade rumors. They weren't playing very well on offense while LeBron was out.
I just think everyone thought Magic. Magic's involved, but just the cliche of Magic, they thought that bringing LeBron to the Lakers, it being the Lakers, it was just going to happen overnight. And, being a former athlete, nothing happens overnight. The Warriors didn't happen overnight. It was a long, painful process of them getting to their dominance and where they're at this year. I still, I gave him and the team a pass this year. Like I said, the West is not the East. This team with LeBron healthy in the East is top 5 in the East, and battling, to make the second or third round in the East, I feel. But just the West is a whole nother monster. So it's tough. But to me, not making the playoffs, okay, do you want to – so what is going to be a harsher criticism? You make the playoffs and get swept in 4 games, or not making the playoffs? It's a lose-lose at the end of the day. It's going to be a long, hot summer for him regardless.
Well, that I agree with. But I still think that he has to at least make the playoffs for history's sake. Right. Like, if you look, it's going to be a mark on his legacy, especially, even though I personally don't have a problem with it, because I think that a lot of these projects were done and planned in the off season, and they're done in his downtime, which you have throughout the day, time to do other things, and it is LeBron James, and most of it is just okay, yeah, I approve it, throw my name on it, I trust you. It's not the best look for him right now that he got to LA and he's doing a lot, like way more than he's ever done. That's pretty hard to say no for. And then they're losing, and then he's criticizing his teammates for not being focused.
I think you hit the 2 points on the head. I love everything he's doing off the court. I think it's the fact that he's losing, but then he's pointing his fingers saying focus, focus, focus. And then everyone's looking at, well, what are you really doing off the court? Are you really focusing? Right. So I think at the end of the day, the only real critique you can give his game right now is he's just not giving that extra effort on defense. His offensive numbers are still what they've been. He's 27-9-9, 27-9-8, something like that. A triple-double last night, but they still lose. So his offensive numbers are there. I just think it's the defense. And not, like I said, we're not telling you to go out and guard the best player anymore. We know you can't afford to do that for the sake of your team, but you can. Normally they're trying to put him on the fourth or fifth option defensively. He's covering the fourth or fifth option defensively. So it's more just about being a team defensive player and then making that extra effort in the rotations needed, and he's not really doing that right now.
What do you make of his comments overall? Because I agree with him in that, to me, I look at the Lakers like this, and I look at any team that allows losing to be acceptable like this. You can't teach young players that it's okay to lose, and then when the expectations hit, it's like, go be a winner. It's not how it works.
Doesn't work that way.
You have to have a mentality of winning is the only thing that's acceptable. And sometimes you're going to lose, but you got to take lessons from it. It's not about like, oh, lost, it's cool, no big deal. And I feel like that's a spillover from the end of Kobe's career. Not an indictment on Kobe, of course. Kobe's the ultimate competitor. But it's a mentality that kind of crept in with the Lakers at the end of Kobe's career, and now it's manifesting with LeBron here. Like, you have these young players, you have to keep a certain level of expectations no matter what the talent is. That's what I feel like winning organizations do. So everyone expects the switch to flip on because LeBron's here, and that's just not how it works.
I think it's really a thin line that he's treading on right now from a standpoint of playing basketball in LA is always more than just playing basketball first and foremost. But I think right now what it's shaping out to be, maybe without him even realizing, is he's pointing the finger so much that they're trying to separate him from the team. Right. You know what I mean? It's almost like LeBron and then the misfits or whatever you want to call them. Like, you're not doing this, you're not doing that. And I don't think he means that. I think he means it in an encouraging, positive way to get the guys going. But the way it's playing out in society and in the way social media works, it's almost like LeBron against the team. So I agree with you. You don't want to be comfortable with losing. I mean, that's the worst mentality as a professional athlete can have. But like I said, it's going to be hard for these guys to buy in, one, because you just tried to clean house. Whether that was you, whether that was Magic, whether that was your agent trying to help, and your agent doesn't want Luke Walton there. So there's a lot of things going on around you, but you need your team to buy in. I think why he's always been successful with those other teams, Cleveland, for an example, is may not have had the best talent, but those guys all believed in themselves, and they believed in him, and they believed in the bigger picture. It's hard for me to, I just tried to trade you last week, and I'm going to tell you, man, I need you, and I believe in you, and it's hard for everyone's gonna be like, man, get out of here with that shit. You know what I mean? So it's right.
Like
so it's a tough situation, but like I said, everyone says it's pros. You got to expect, you got to this, but at the end of the day, everyone is human. You know what I mean? So going back to the point of, man, am I going to be traded? Am I not going to be traded for young players? That's a monster. And then being in LA. And then now kind of being criticized by LeBron game after game without him really saying any names is a lot. So I think he just needs to take a step back. I think more than anything, he just needs to hug his team. You know, these guys need to get back on the same page. They need to feel the love, maybe go do a team event, team activity, do something to get guys back. And, you know, I remember early in the season, I loved watching Lakers because they reminded me of the Warriors from a standpoint of when someone scored, they're all jumping up and down on the bench and cheering, and everyone's in tune when Luke is talking, and when LeBron is talking, everyone's locked in. You watch them now, and they're all on islands. They don't give a they don't care what's being said. They're not focused, and they're not playing for each other, and that's where they've kind of lost. Like I said earlier, the chemistry is not there.
Right. So let's talk about the East a little bit, because they're going to be a playoffs.
Yeah, they're allowed to. That's the thing.
I really like the Raptors. I'm not sold on the Bucks. Maybe I'm being silly there.
No, you're not.
But I just feel like everyone just forgot what Kawhi Leonard is, and I think we have this hangover with the Raptors. But LeBron James was in the East when that was happening with the Raptors, and I feel like this is a different team. I like Philly, but I don't know if they're mentally there, because they're really sloppy. They have a lot of turnovers. And the Celtics, I don't really know what to expect with the Celtics. From Jason Tatum is great, and I think he's going to be an all-time great player. But I still don't know what to expect from the Celtics, although I picked them to be in the finals at the beginning of the year. So who do you like the most out of the East right now?
I think to take one step back, I think the East is going to be a fun as a whole to watch during the playoffs, because there's no big brother LeBron no more out there kind of bullying everyone and almost putting fear in people's hearts. So I really think that the East is going to be fun. I think you touched on a lot of great points. You know, Milwaukee's yet to prove themselves and really been there. Giannis has never won a series as amazing as he's playing in the regular season. The playoffs is a whole nother monster. Philly is still young and still really doesn't have an identity, although they have a lot of talent, a lot of great pieces. I love Tobias Harris and Jimmy Butler and the pieces they put together. On paper, they look great. You know, on the court, can they make that work? But then, like you said, Toronto has been there. They've done that. You pretty much trade Kawhi Leonard for DeMar DeRozan. DeMar's a friend of mine, but Kawhi is a better player. You know what I mean? So you swatch that. You're able to get Marc Gasol, Siakam, man, he's an emerging star. They really got a lot of, and they got a solid bench. I really like Toronto, and then Boston is another team that's been there and done that, but they did it without Kyrie. You know, so Kyrie is going to be here now. How do these, like I said, how do these guys exactly take? You know, how do these younger players that did it by themselves last year, you know, shape their game around who, you know, Kyrie is going to be the focal point. Right. You know what I mean? And he's a proven playoff killer, so you got to respect that. So, like I said, when you're playing with great players, and I put Kyrie in a great, in a great upper echelon of players, the other players have to learn how to function their games around them. And like I said, they did it without him last year, making it to the Eastern Conference Finals. So it's going to be interesting. But I like Toronto and Boston in the Eastern Conference Finals. And I'm probably going to have to go with Toronto to represent out of the Eastern Conference, to be honest with you.
I'm going for the baby dinosaurs.
I mean, up against everything else, the Celtics don't like each other. I don't. As good as Kyrie is, there's Al Horford as the leader of that team is different than Kyrie Irving as the leader of that team. It's just the product's not there. Giannis, Chris Middleton as the other all-star, who's clutch between those two? As good as Giannis is. Raptors you add Kawhi, this is a no-brainer.
I just think that there's a thing with Kawhi because of the way that it ended with the Spurs that everyone just forgot.
It's a whole year not watching
Finals MVP. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Right.
It's what have you done for me lately?
Exactly.
And I think everyone forgot. Kawhi Leonard's really
top five
really,
in the
really
world.
Good.
Top five in the world. Like I said, and you're really just trading out your two, the best player for a best player, and Kawhi is a better player than DeMar, so you would think it would be seamless. But then, like I said, getting that chemistry down, and I think they're doing a good job of that. Slowly but surely, they're still adding pieces. But they have they have 7 or 8 solid pieces, playoff proven. You can never underestimate Danny Green because he's been in so many finals. They got a very solid bench. I really like what Toronto is doing, and I think come March, April, they'll be the top dog in the East.
Who do you like for the MVP right now? It's been Giannis is pretty much been leading the way for most of the season, but Paul George has made it very interesting.
It's tough, you know
and
what
of
I
course,
mean?
James Harden's in there.
And then I think, you know, it's crazy that no one ever mentions Kevin Durant. You know, Kevin Durant, and I say that because
the
he
Warriors
was
just kind of, they
right.
kind of cannibalize each other with an
still,
MVP
you know what I
race.
mean? What KD and Steph consistently do, I mean, I think everyone holds it against them because they have such a great team. But if you look back, you know, you look back on the Showtime on the teams and in the old Boston, like they had tons of Hall of Famers, tons of All Stars, and they didn't really get held to that. I just think we're in a new day and age, and people didn't like KD's moves, so they discredit his talent. So I think KD has played at an All-Star level this year. Giannis has been playing out of his mind. You know, he's playing out of his mind. What James Harden has done goes without saying. And then I really love for just the story as a whole of what Paul George has been able to come back and do, and really crediting Russell Westbrook finally being okay with being Robin instead of Batman. You know what I mean? Russell Westbrook was the only person able to stop KD. You know, he was the only person that was able to stop KD. You know what I mean? And I think they butted heads more than just being teammates and utilizing each other's talents. So I think it's been a huge step in Russ's maturity and game. And as he gotten older, realizing, okay, I got a dog right here, and I had a dog before and I lost him. Let me feed this dog these bones so he can go do what he does. And like I said, really hats off to Russell Westbrook understanding his role and place on that team now. And I think they're a much more dangerous team now that he's taken a backseat to Paul George and let him do his thing.
So the tournament's coming up pretty soon. Last week, the whole conversation was about Zion Williamson and is he going to continue to play? And
Paul
he's
George's
blowing, the transition there, blowing his shoe up. Do you think that Zion should finish the season if he's healthy? I don't have a problem with his decision either way. He said he's going to play, but obviously that's going to give some people anxiety who care more about his NBA career. But what's your opinion of Zion in the NBA, and should he continue playing for the
I
tournament?
think what he needs to do is find out first and foremost exactly what's going on with his knee. You know, I think he should have a Duke doctor check it out. He should have an outside doctor check it out, and then do what's best for him. I think too often we try to he's a kid. He's 18 years old. You know, at 18, all I wanted, you couldn't get me off the basketball court. You know what I mean? And I think adults and money always want to mess up a good thing. You know what I mean? You look at LeVar Ball. You know what I mean? You messed your kids up. You know what I mean? You took one out of high school, you took one out of UCLA, you put them over somewhere. Now you're talking all this trash, and no one likes Lonzo. You know, so I think adults mess things up too much. You know what I mean? This kid is 18 years old. You know, enjoy your time. I remember, you know, when I went to school with Earl, UCLA was one of the best times of my life outside having children. I had a blast in college. It was just fun, you know, free, and it's a last real little bit of fun and kind of carefree life you get to have before you become a professional athlete, and then that's a whole nother beast in itself. But to me, if he's healthy, I absolutely think he should play. And you know, especially because from a standpoint of, you got to think, if he never got hurt, no one would have said any of this. It's not like, say he goes on the pace he's going on, and right before the tournament, they're like, maybe you shouldn't play in the tournament because you might get hurt. You know what I mean? Like, no one would even thought to say that. So like I said, he had a non-contact injury, a shoe malfunction, and he sprained his knee. You know what I mean? So you tell him to sit out. Okay, so are you going to tell him not to work out then? Are you going to tell him not to play no pickup basketball? I mean, you can get hurt and all that stuff. So to me, if he's healthy, I think he should play.
I mean, I agree. I get a little weird about the NCAA, and obviously, like, the conversation about the tickets was, you know,
ridiculous.
It was crazy. And Obama's,
ridiculous.
You know, courtside, so it gets a little out of control with it. But I am excited about it because LeBron is, you know, let's just say it.
He's running his course.
He's
Father
aging
Time is
out.
undefeated, man.
It is undefeated. Although he gave him a strong run. I'm not saying it's over.
Gave him some good stuff.
Not
He's not done.
Not by any means.
All I'm saying is the future of the NBA looks exciting. There's a lot of young, exciting players. We often focus on LeBron and whatever is going on here in LA, but there is a lot going on.
Yeah.
I mean, we were talking about Luka earlier. Like,
I completely agree.
Luka, I'm so
love
excited.
Luka. Luka's a dog. I love Luka, great player. But like you touched on it, Joe, I think that the NCAA is a broke slave mentality system. You know what I mean? The way you come in as, you know, I'm speaking for myself. Like, I couldn't, if I didn't have a scholarship, I wouldn't have been able to go to college. So you got to go, and you got to be a student, and then you got to be an athlete. And then those two are hard enough alone.
And UCLA
and then,
is no joke.
Right. And then, you know, you got to incorporate the social life, because regardless, that's what you're going to do. You're first time free as a child. So you don't have time to work or do anything. So, you know, you're kind of handcuffing these kids when tickets were going for the price of a Super Bowl ticket. You know, the former president was at the game. All this was because of who? one person or the team. They got other talented guys, but because of Zion, right? But these guys don't get to touch none of that. You know what I mean? And if they touch any of it, they're going to get suspended and jeopardize their career. When these schools are sitting back and making millions upon millions of dollars off these kids.
The system's broken. I don't know how to fix it as far as paying kids, because you are going to get into, do you pay the female athletes? Do you pay the polo players the same that you pay the tennis players, that you pay the football players, and it's different at every school? And then how does Division III work? And it's very complicated as far as that goes. But I do think this simple thing is like getting a free meal.
Something.
Or
donations,
maybe getting some percentage of your likeness.
Just keep turning your head, because obviously these kids are super talented, and that's why people are throwing opportunities in. Just let them enjoy it. Why not?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But
I'm glad. I know a lot of people are very critical of the one and done rule being removed. They think there's going to be just this like influx of young guys just going straight to the league. Maybe a few extra guys will declare for the league than need to, but at the end of the day, it's all going to sort itself out. Everyone knows that they're not ready for they're not ready to go straight to the NBA just because the rule is not there. There's still going to be only a few guys that do that, and everyone thinks it's an NCAA rule. It's actually an NBA rule.
Yeah,
every couple of years, even too.
And I think, like I said, it's about business, and I think that overall, it's sad to say that for every Zion, there's going to be eight. Kwame Browns or guys that just didn't pan out, and I think the numbers and the revenue off that one player is going to make it all worth it, and it's going to be unfortunate. A lot of guys get bad advice entering the draft. I mean, there's usually like 250 players in each draft, and there's only 60 spots, so a lot of people are getting bad advice. But I agree. Like I said, I think it's oddly enough that all this is starting to talk about the one time that they think, the next meal ticket for the NBA gets hurt. You know what I mean? But I think there's going to be some sacrificial lambs in this situation when you open it back up to kids straight out of high school, because a lot of kids are going to get bad advice. A lot of kids aren't going to pan out. But, for, like I said, every one Zion, there's going to be a handful of guys that won't make it. But I think you need to be able to give these kids a chance, because some of these kids are ready to go off the bat.
Yeah, some of them are ready. And to me, I just feel like it's the same with football. Like, it's a situation where other sports don't necessarily make you do that. You don't have to do it in tennis. You don't have to worry about it in golf. Like, there's if you're a musician, you don't have to go to college for 1 year before you move on to going to be a professional musician. I don't feel like if you're good enough, you're good enough. If you're not, that's your decision. And you make all kinds of decisions in life. And I mean, sometimes you're right, people get bad advice, but I feel like it should still be an option. But the tournament's going to be exciting either way. I'm glad he's going to be in it. But thanks for joining us. We appreciate it.
No problem.
It was,
Thank you for having me.
There's not as much drama as last time.
What was the drama last time?
Well, what are you talking? Are you trying to get on?
No, we just had more. We had more dramatic conversations.
Oh yeah. We're serious. We was talking. You just come off the you had a Bleach Report campaign. And, the Cannabinoids.
The 420.
Cannabinoids.
How do you say it? I don't know how to say it.
Cannabinoids.
Cannabinoids.
It's been a year. That's when I came in last time. Was around that. Yeah, it's been a minute.
Yeah.
No, it's fun. I'm still doing a lot of advocacy work. I'm doing a UCLA cannabis research program, which I'm really proud about, but really just trying to bring awareness and education to the space, because I think it definitely should be an alternative form of treatment. These professional sports are pumping us full of opioids and don't care if you drink alcohol and do other things, but you smoke a joint or do something like that and you're a bad person, you get fined and you can possibly lose your career. But at the end of the day, when we study and educate ourselves on this plant, it's a very helpful plant. Like I said, not only, inhaling it through a joint or whatever situation may be, but the more studies they're doing on CBD. CBD is a miracle drug, and it's helping everyone from children to our grandparents through all their ailing problems. So I'm really excited about being able to, educate people on the matter and working with my alma mater, UCLA, in the process.
That's dope.
Okay.
All right, well, we appreciate it, Matt.
Thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it.
With it or quit it? With it? Quit it.
What?
With it. We about to turn up in this bitch.
All right, thanks to Matt Barnes.
Yes.
What am I winning or quitting today?
2018's Heisman Trophy winner Kyler Murray is all the talk heading into this year's NFL draft. The first 4 teams in the draft all have solid options at quarterback, so I'm expecting a trade earlier on. Joy, Kyler Murray should not be the first quarterback taken in the draft. With it or quit it?
I'm going to with that.
Okay, what you?
I see what's happening here, and I'm on to you. Everyone who's saying that Kyler Murray is going to be the first quarterback taken.
It's similar narratives to last year with Baker, Oklahoma quarterback, Heisman Trophy winner.
Yeah, I remember.
Smaller than most.
Right. And Kyler Murray is a good quarterback.
Yes.
And he's mobile and accurate and all those fun things, but he's also 5'8". We're saying 5'9", but like, you know, if the cleats sink into the grass,
those are cleat height.
You're really
Beware of cleat height.
We're gonna get the proper measurement at the combine,
Yes.
so I guess, you know, maybe I'll be proven wrong.
Yeah, people thought I was shorter than I was because I gave real height, and they thought it was my cleat height. It's like, no, I'm respecting no cleats.
You're respecting the no cleats
Yeah,
rule.
I'm respecting no cleats.
Yeah, like I'm 5'2.5" with no heels.
Yes.
So I'm just always short. So the point is, I don't care about Kyler Murray being short. There's like this big push that he's going to be. First of all, that he's going to go to Arizona because Arizona has the number 1 overall pick. They have Josh Rosen.
Right.
I don't. Huh?
Yeah.
I don't get it. Did they forget that Kyler Murray was going to be coming up in this draft when they drafted Josh Rosen?
It was a lot of different people holding the sticks in Arizona the last 2 years.
Fine, but my thing is like, unless they, I could be wrong, but they're holding Cliff Kingsbury to this quote that he said when he was not responsible for an NFL team. He did not have the option of who he was going to take with the number 1 overall pick. And stuff changes when you're in that position. Not that he's going to be the only one making that decision, because the GM is most certainly going to have plenty of weight in who they take number 1 overall.
As he should.
Sure. Okay. Sure. But the point is, I don't see them moving off Josh Rosen just like that. Matter to remind everyone, their offensive line was the worst in the league. Okay. He was hit like a bajillion times.
Yes.
It's not like he was in the best situation to prove himself. I don't think that they're moving off Josh Rosen. And maybe he will be the first quarterback taken. I don't know why Dwayne Haskins has disappeared into the ether. I don't know how that happens. But everyone's talking about his height and his weight. And to me, I don't care about his height and his weight. That it is what it is. That's not changing. Is there like a stretch machine you're putting him in? Like he is this big.
About then?
Because everyone keeps talking about it like, oh, you know, he's short and that doesn't matter. What do you mean it doesn't matter? Of course it matters. Your height and weight in football or really any sport matters.
All of it. It matters at all times, always. But
have you ever seen a tall jockey?
No, not one that wins. Not one that I've seen. No. Yeah.
How many 5'2" professional NBA basketball players have we seen? Muggsy Bogues?
I mean, yeah, he was
like 5'4".
He's a taller. Yeah, yes, exactly. Okay, it's an anomaly. I understand that.
Okay, so I'm not trying to draft the exception. Like, no one's should be in this position moving up that much in the draft to take a quarterback or having a pick that high should be so edgy as to do that. Like, you trying to prove that you're a genius, or are you trying to keep your job and grow your franchise? I'm not saying Kyler Murray's going to kill the franchise or be a disaster. I'm just saying stop talking to me like your height and your size don't matter. I don't care about that, though. You were successful in college at a high level, being the same size that you're going to be in the NFL. Maybe you'll gain a couple pounds. Like, it matters. It's not going to move the needle for me. The running thing doesn't matter to me either. I don't care about that. We know that you can't sustain anything like that in the NFL. You can't do it. So show me that you can throw. Show me that you're accurate. And that's all I need to hear.
If the NFL has shown us anything in this last calendar year is that the game is changing, especially on offense. So in defense of anyone who decides to move up to try to get a Kyler Murray, there's versions on paper of the last Heisman Trophy winners, Lamar Jackson and Baker Mayfield, that prove that these guys can find success in the NFL. And if it's not long success, it's at least enough to make relevant that draft pick that you made for that person. Joy Taylor.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Okay.
I have a question.
Yes.
Lamar Jackson, Baker Mayfield, rookies?
Yes.
So they had 1 year.
Yes.
1 year.
Yeah, and they tied the Steelers first game.
Baker Mayfield won how many playoff games?
Okay, but he didn't get to the playoffs.
Oh.
It's the Browns. Like, what are we talking about here?
Okay.
And all these teams drafting first are bad teams, and they need help.
Lamar Jackson went how far in the playoffs?
He took a team that shouldn't have been there to the playoffs. A good Ravens team that shouldn't have been there to the playoffs.
How'd they do?
You know.
Can we pump the brakes for like 5 seconds? It drives me bananas that we do this. I know we have no choice because we're just projecting, and that's what we do. We just say things that we don't know. Like, we have no bleeping idea what's going to happen, but we prophesize like we do know. We don't know.
That's a good word for it.
To say that it is a proven success that you can take non-traditional quarterbacks and it's going to be a success
As of late?
is a gross exaggeration. I'm not saying that Baker Mayfield didn't have a great season. He did, and he was very impressive what he did with the Browns. And I do think he's going to be a solid quarterback. As I said, because I said he should have been started from the beginning.
Right.
Remember that? Okay. Lamar Jackson, totally in on Lamar Jackson. Clearly move off Joe Flacco. Go all in. Pick your quarterback. He's your guy. Yeah. Can we see some sustained level of success before we start saying that there's this wave of influx of newness? Who just won the Super Bowl?
Okay, but who played them in the Super Bowl? And that's an example of
How'd they do?
The level of success. It's very bad. They didn't do well at all. But it's changing. The sustained success is something that we might not even see from the NFL moving forward.
Is it though?
I don't know yet. I mean, the things are changing, Joy. Things are changing.
Are they? All I'm saying is I want to see some. Can I see your reports? Like, I'm a bank. I want to see what you've been doing for the last 3 years. Okay. Can I see the bottom line with how much the balance that you have?
You gotta wait 3 years.
I mean, you got to give me some level of like consistency here. I'm just saying, just pump the brakes. Kyler Murray's going to be a good player. Okay. I'm not being a hater. I don't actually care about how big he is at all because if anyone's going to take him, you got to. That's how big he is. This is what you're getting. Yeah. This is the package. Yeah. Okay. What about him can you change? What about him can you develop? I don't care about how big he is. He's in the conversation for going number 1 overall in the draft. His size is his size. I don't even know why everyone keeps talking about it. It's like a surprise.
It's a
like
little
playing.
size,
He was like playing in platforms this whole time.
Yeah, it's a little size.
Okay, but we know that. Like, talk to me about what he can develop and do in the NFL. Like, what can you make about his game better? You can't change how big he is. So it's like this redundant conversation. And this idea that all these innovative new things are like implementing and showing success. The Patriots just won. Tom Brady is old as dirt. Okay, nothing new was successful this year. The Rams were exciting, and they had a great season. Okay. And they have Sean McVay, and he's innovative and he's young. That's great. Made it to the Super Bowl, and I give full credit to that. I don't think that their season was a disaster or a failure. I'm just saying, at the end of the day, what won?
Bill Belichick.
The same stuff we've been seeing for the last 20 years. Okay. So just when I see something that is solid with diamonds in it. Okay, and the banner, then we can start having that conversation. It's very premature.
Kyler Murray is like a fun-sized quarterback. That's pretty cool. All right, the Antonio Brown sweepstakes continues, and Peter King has released an early round of serious suitors for the demanding wide receiver. See, I said demanding and not diva. The Carolina Panthers, the New York Jets, the Washington R-Words, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and the Oakland Vegas Raiders. Joy, the best place for Antonio Brown is with the Pittsburgh Steelers. With it or quit it?
On the field,
as a player,
I'm going to quit it. Overall, I'm going to quit it because it's no longer that. It was the best place for him. It was the place that he would be most successful.
Look at the options, Joy.
It was the place where he had a Hall of Fame level quarterback throwing to him a lot.
Yes.
It was a place where all of whatever he was and is, personality-wise, was dealt with and accepted.
Developed.
And rewarded.
Developed. He was a low draft pick. Whatever monster that Antonio Brown is, the Steelers birthed that.
Facilitated it, yes.
For sure.
Yeah, they gave it the water and love and attention.
Like a gremlin.
And it grew.
They put water on it on accident.
And I don't have a problem with Antonio Brown in general. Like, I mean, obviously I don't advocate for throwing furniture off of a balcony and any of the other stuff that he's involved in that regard. But overall, I think he's the best receiver in the league, in my opinion. It's him, Odell, Julio Jones. Switch it off however you will, but he's the top, one of the top receivers in the league without question. And unfortunately, he plays a dependent position, so he needs someone throwing to him. So let's take a look at the list. Who did you say? Carolina,
Jets.
I mean, while Carolina would be thrilling content-wise, the celebrations would be remarkable.
The drip sweat.
Cam is not of the reputation of an accurate thrower.
No, not in the back half of the season.
So I don't love that. For that reason, and because I say that because I want to actually see Antonio Brown continue to be successful. Yes. Like, I don't want to see Antonio Brown go disappear into no man's land, and then we never see or hear from him again. Okay, so that's not how I want his career to end, because I like watching good football. So that's not what I want. Washington, who knows what Washington's going to be this year?
Yeah.
Who
They
knows?
don't know.
Right.
Yeah.
So, no. Tampa Bay, I mean...
If they decide who's going to throw the ball, they could be fine. They could be fine. As weird a division that they're in.
Moving on. The
Okay.
Jets...
I like them Jets.
Which I do like the Jets. I do think that's interesting. I do think Sam Darnold is interesting. I do think he would thrive in New York. And if Odell ends up staying in New York, I mean, that's just...
I mean, if you give the Jets a Joe Namath type of player to care about, because best believe Antonio Brown's bringing his fur coat to the Jets if he goes there.
Oh, yeah.
Take
and
the pressure off of Sam Darnold.
It's not going to be faux fur, Peter.
No. Yeah, unfortunately. Yeah. I don't know where I land on that, actually. But but that's what it takes away from Sam Darnold and helps the development, because Sam Darnold is like, he's just a chill. He doesn't want the big. I know he had a podcast,
Sam Darnold is,
but he don't want it.
Sam
He don't
Darnold
want
is
that.
probably the perfect personality quarterback-wise for Antonio Brown.
Yes.
He completely balances him out. So that's really the only...
Then Raiders.
Yeah, because the Raiders are. I mean, what's going to happen with the Raiders? No one knows. So I don't love any of these options. The best place for him was the Steelers, and now it's not. And honestly, my hope is that he ends up with the 49ers, because him and Jimmy G would be exciting. The 49ers have a great fan base, legendary franchise. I like that move for him, but I don't. Pittsburgh's basically saying they only want to trade him to an NFC team. I don't know how that's possible when only 3 teams have reached out, even interested in a trade. So it's like, ooh,
Yeah.
huh?
Yeah. You can't set the terms at this point.
Girl, look in the mirror,
Yes.
okay, please, just for 5 seconds, because you got the hair's like sideways there. Just fix that. So I don't get it.
I think Antonio Brown, I like the 49ers for the reason that Kyle Shanahan will give Antonio Brown the structure and a head coach that he needs to succeed, because he does need structure. He needs to know that he is not in charge and can't sway who's getting the ball and win, because there's a football mind there that he will respect.
Well, I do also think that wherever he goes, he is going to have a chip on his shoulder because of what happened in Pittsburgh.
should.
So, well, hopefully,
Yeah.
because that's what needs to happen really for him to continue to have some success.
Right.
Because the reality is, what happened in Pittsburgh, while I have plenty of blame to go around, and we've talked about it many, many times, and I put a lot of it at Roethlisberger and Tomlin's feet, and not as much on Antonio, really.
Right.
You're never bigger than the quarterback, no matter what it is. I mean, it's like playing with LeBron James. You're just not bigger.
Never will
It
be.
just, even if you have a better night, it's still LeBron James. Like, it's just not the way it works, and it's the
analogy.
quarterback. Like, that's how it worked. And honestly, if you are bigger than the quarterback on the team, it's good luck.
Yeah. Not getting to the playoffs for sure.
All right, what's next?
We're entering the last 6 weeks of the NBA regular season, and with LeBron making movie deals in the West, the battle for the best in the East is realistically between 4 star-driven teams: the Bucks, the Raptors, the Sixers, and the Celtics. Joy, the Raptors are clearly the best team in the East. With it or quit it.
With it.
Woo!
The Raptors are the beasts in the East.
Growl, growl, dinosaurs. Bam, bam. Or what's bite?
Bite.
What do dinosaurs do? Scare. Growl. Ah.
What do dinosaurs do?
In your guys'
There's
world,
a
the
special
dinosaurs
part
existed.
of the hills in Cali
What
I can
did
send
they
you
do?
to. That's where they roam, and
Okay.
you can go have a conversation with them.
Okay, cool.
I don't know what dinosaurs do.
Yeah, I don't know what
Okay,
it is.
and reality is nobody does. Okay, except for the people that figured out Jurassic Park. They know what they do.
Yeah,
Raptors are my favorite dinosaur, by the way. I was a big
favorite dinosaur
Stegosaurus. I was a big
talk real quick.
Stegosaurus fan growing up.
Yes.
I just thought they were so meek and adorable.
Exactly.
With like the plates on their back.
Yes. I was a fan of those.
And Brontosaurus is the one with the long neck, right?
Yes. I was a big Triceratops fan because I was really obsessed with tri meaning 3 and the 3 horns. I was like, Triceratops.
Oh, Triceratops is the one with like the big thing.
Yeah. And
They're,
then
they're like lion.
Like a rhino.
Rhino lion dinosaurs.
Yeah, rhino. I don't think they were hairy, but yes.
No, but not with the hair. I mean, like with the like skin mane.
Skin, yes. Skin mane. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, skin
Yeah,
mane.
that's the only way I can describe it.
I hope someone in like anthropology or something is listening to this and like just
They want
just
to
crawling.
They want to physically attack us right now.
Ugh.
We're giving dinosaurs lots of love right
Land
now.
for time.
I was chasing on Google. You guys were pretty spot on.
Thank you. Thank you.
At one point in my life, I wanted to be an archaeologist. I really thought when you went to the little places that gave you like the polished stones that you really had like rare gems. It was a very important thing for me. I was a big digger. Okay. My mom just eventually
for gems?
gave up. Yes. Oh no. I was positive that there was like buried treasure in our backyard.
Not dinosaur bones though.
Maybe.
Yeah, I know. I love the
If
idea.
you dig
of
far enough,
accidentally.
who knows what you'll find.
Yeah.
That was
You
my
don't know what's under
motto.
there.
I was a very dirty kid. Anyway, the point is, the Raptors are my favorite now because they destroy and eat things. But I do think that the Raptors are the scariest team in the East to me because, one, I think everyone's underestimating them because, as we talked about with Matt, I think there's a hangover from the LeBron years where they had incredible regular season. And I was critical of them, very critical of them. They're an incredible regular season team, and they aren't going to do anything in the postseason. Yeah. But it's a different team now. And Kawhi Leonard is not a joke. Danny Green is a champion. And Marc Gasol is a big addition for them. Woo. And Kyle Lowry does not get enough credit. There's a lot going on there, and and they've been there before. I do like the Raptors. I really like the addition of Tobias Harris to the Sixers, but I still am not sold on how that is all going to come together in crunch time.
Yeah,
that is what I'm not sure about.
The process is over there.
I know I'm completely dismissing the Bucks. I'm sorry. That's just what I'm doing.
Yeah, I was like,
I wish I had a better explanation for it, but that's just how I feel.
Yeah, I mean, when your best player is dominating only around the rim in this 3-dominated game, it's like betting on a young Shaq team, like betting on Orlando Magic to do something. It's like, no, it's gonna be fun to watch.
Chris Middleton is an all-star. He's going to be a factor.
Yes, and he hits the shots, but it's one person.
Yeah. Well, finally, the Celtics, who I picked to be in the finals for the East at the beginning of the season, mostly just off reputation. Yeah. I don't know what to make of the Celtics. Like you said earlier, they don't really like each other. There's a lot of noise around the Celtics throughout the season. Don't know what's going on with Kyrie and Gordon Hayward, and it's just weird with the Celtics. And even when they win, and then it comes back down, I don't know what to expect from them. So for me, right now, I'm in the bite corner.
Yeah, bite, go Raptors.
That's my Raptor. Is that good? I'm dead. It is with the Raptors. The Raptors have the little thing
with the claws.
Click, click.
Click.
And then they do in Jurassic Park when they're walking. Remember, because they're walking because the scene.
Talons.
Is that what they are? Talons. Talons.
Michelle says I said that wrong. Talonsons.
They don't.
That's the word Joy's saying.
Yeah. They don't have a skin mane.
Say it with me.
Talons. Stop. Why are you doing that? That scene, though, in the kitchen.
Woo!
First of all, okay, can we just talk about why do you have to knock? Why does someone always have to knock something loud over?
Something loud's always near the ledge. Something loud's always near the ledge.
Ashley can testify to this. I am very out on people being clumsy around me.
Oh yeah, that's me. 100%.
I cannot describe the level of irritation that I reach immediately, and maybe it's unfair.
You can't. That's the definition. It's not my fault. It's not their fault.
It is your fault.
How?
It's so 100% your fault.
How?
Ashley, testify to how irritated I get when someone.
So obnoxious how irritated she gets. I remember when I first started with Joy, 2.5 years ago, and I almost ate it walking up on stage on the Undisputed set. I almost
that
ate
ledge
it.
is tricky.
She full on turned around and gave me the death stare. How dare I have the audacity?
Someone's gonna fall on you?
Doesn't fall on me.
Eat it. No, I wasn't even close to her. Just me.
What are you afraid? What's the clumsy? What's the pet peeve?
I don't have time for
What
tripping.
does that mean? I don't have time for
It means we have a 3-minute break. She has my notes. We're about to do a live show. What are you tripping for?
I don't have time for mistakes.
I'd already given her
Are the stairs
I don't
new?
have time for foot and hand mistakes.
Are the stairs new? They've been there this whole time.
You get mad at someone being clumsy.
Be mindful. Hear ye, hear ye. Anonymous executives are petty. So, on Saturday, obviously, LeBron dropped that quote about the lack of urgency. It's been picked apart in a million different ways. Yes. He also said that injuries have hurt the chemistry of the Lakers, which is very true. However, an anonymous league executive took exception to that and told Bleacher Report he killed the Lakers' chemistry. He shouldn't have been so public about it. Even during the All-Star draft, he laughed about wanting Anthony Davis to be his teammate.
He did.
But he's not really wrong. He's petty, but he's not really wrong. This anonymous executive. Of course, anonymous also means that you ain't trying to really say that to his face, though. You ain't really trying to say it. But
Put your name on it.
I feel you, though.
With your chest.
I feel you, though. He's not wrong. It did take a blow. It did deliver a blow to the Lakers' chemistry. Obviously, the injuries were a big issue, and that was the start of it. But that trade deadline situation was a disaster. It may go down as one of the biggest disasters in sports history when it's all said and done, if they don't pull it together and don't win a championship, we are not going to look back on that moment very highly, especially if they don't end up getting Anthony Davis. That's going to look even worse.
Yeah, it's one of those things that time, like the Isaiah Thomas Kyrie trade, time will tell how bad it was. And I think they have to be able to bounce back from this. If you have Magic Johnson, Rob Pelinka, and LeBron James on your team, running your team, and you can't bounce back from trade rumors that the Pelicans tried to sabotage, then this team wasn't good. Is never going to be good together.
I mean, there's a lot that goes on with LeBron teams, so obviously you have to be prepared for some drama. But this is a little extra bad. Like it's you try to trade most of your young team core,
all of them,
and then
everyone.
You had to back off of it, and then everyone's supposed to be friends again. It's tough. So it was. I want to say it was the biggest blow because I do think that the LeBron injury was the thing that got all this started, got it all cracking.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know how we're going to look back on it if Anthony Davis doesn't end up coming.
I was just thinking about this the other day, though. What about when Miami that first year when they lost to the Mavericks? That was a huge. This is building to possibly be a Hollywood ending at the end of the day, because we're seeing the worst LeBron we've seen, and it looks just so dire and bad on all different variables and all different ways. Next year, if they win a championship, this is going to be quite the comeback story.
It would be wonderful. Are the Warriors going to stay together the same way that they are?
Of course not. I mean, Draymond Green is going to sabotage that team during the playoffs this year. I'm calling that. You got to read body language.
Oh boy.
Clutch Sports.
Oh.
We out here. We.
It's time for high key, low key.
All right, high key, low key. I don't know. I don't think we're ever gonna figure it out.
There's something there.
I don't think so. All right, high key. Zion Williamson is back, and low key, he should play.
Amen. I
don't have a problem if he was going to sit, but I'm very excited that he's not sitting. That moment where he slid and his shoe exploded. Well, obviously my first reaction was that sucks. Hopefully he's okay, because that just looks like a devastating knee injury, and that's the worst. It doesn't matter who it is. The knee injuries are just the worst, especially because he's a big guy, and that was already a big concern. However, then when it was like he's not super injured, but he might not play, it's like, damn, the tournament just went from here to all the way down here. Yeah. And that's pretty selfish, but that's accurate. He is what is making this tournament what it's going to be. Yeah. So I'm really excited he's going to be playing. I would have had zero judgment if he chose to sit out, because it's his entire future, and he's not getting paid to play in the NCAA. And while Matt is right that this is some of the best times of your life, and you are just going out there and playing with guys that you live with and you're around, and it's fun, and it's probably the last unadulterated hoop moment of your life, although it's clearly not. Right. But there's the theory of it, because it's, you're not being paid. But I'm really excited that he's not injured and that he's going to be out there. The tournament to me feels bigger this year because of him. Even though there are some other obviously great teams and other great players who are going to be in the tournament, it's all going to come down to who. The Final Four to me feels like, wow, it's going to be some great basketball.
Yeah, the tournament's going to be a bunch of talk about Duke and the seeding and how far they go. And then as soon as they lose, their conversation is going to be about how Duke lost. And then we're going to be talking about where Zion goes.
I mean, but Virginia, Gonzaga,
Tennessee. There's a bunch of great teams right now. But at the end of the day, being a fan of college basketball and then being a fan of the tournament is two different things. I think both people have something exciting with Zion.
Well, Zion has made the regular season of college basketball interesting, which for fringe fans is rare.
Trae Young did a little. But
not on the level that Zion is. Obama is not coming to a Trae Young game. That speaks for itself. Okay, the greatest. Okay, is there on the
44
on the court side. It's incredible. Yes, and he wanted to remind you.
He had vibranium jacket on. Y'all see that?
He did have a vibranium jacket.
It was kind of vibranium.
We all kind of know it was a vibranium jacket. Anyway, I'm very excited about it. All right. High key, Space Jam 2 is so close. Woo! And although I was very critical of LeBron doing Space Jam 2, I am kind of getting excited about it now, so I don't want to be a hypocrite.
You got it.
And low key, we should cast it, because that's super fun. All right, so we did this on the herd the other day, and it was a good idea, so we're gonna do it again.
Yes.
All right, now, first of all, we don't know what the twist on the storyline is gonna be.
No. We can
Obviously.
assume certain
Now, here's the
things.
thing about it. We keep saying, like, it's going to be the same storyline, but remember, this is Space Jam 2, not a remake of the original Space Jam.
Right. So
So
like
it's a
there's-
sequel.
Well, like let's just from the very beginning, if we want to do this, Space Jam heads, there will not be a first scene before the credits of him talking to a dad about playing basketball.
Oh, but that was
like,
so good.
That's out of there because LeBron doesn't have one of those, as far as we know.
What
But
a
Gloria.
downer.
I'm saying the
We're
narrative is
having
changing.
a
I'm
super
saying it's
fun
different. I'm saying it's different.
conversation.
So let's talk. Okay, let's go. And then, but okay. At the end of the day, the alien's going to have to take powers from NBA stars.
Are they?
Well, what are you watching Space Jam 2? You want to see Bugs Bunny against what? Who?
I mean, but it can't, like, literally be the same thing. It can't be another game.
If it's Looney Tunes versus Disney, I'm there all day, but that's not going to
I
happen.
think that perhaps maybe it's a game. Maybe they like don't turn into monsters, and it like maybe some NBA players turn evil or something. Like not
Joy.
trying to take them to another planet. Like maybe they're just trying to take over
Listen,
Earth.
The basketball takes the powers from the stars.
So it's
Okay,
just-
they're
it's
in the
the same
basketball.
thing?
Yeah, it's going to be the exact. Joel Embiid's going to come over to the bench. I don't know. I can't play. I can't do it. I don't. You know what I mean? Like it's going to be like James Harden's going to be like, oh, that was my beard. I don't know what's going on. I can't make this shot.
All right,
like,
so
it's going to be there.
let's just redo the first movie then, because since you're going to change
What do you think
nothing,
they're doing?
They're not redoing the first movie. The
Okay.
sequel. That means
All right.
it's a different storyline.
Okay.
It's just something different happens. It's a
Okay.
sequel.
Okay.
Toy Story's not the same as Toy Story 2.
Don't do that because that's just great movies. So we're going to skip into the great movies category. It's like, oh, Godfather 1, Godfather 2.
All right,
Like,
basically you're just recasting Space Jam.
okay. If you,
Okay, so recast Space Jam.
LeBron James is Jordan. Tiffany Haddish as his wife. The kids as the kids, because his kids was the kids in the movie.
Right.
That was the one that was
Yeah,
real.
that's
so
what happened.
the kids gonna be the kids. Bill Murray, Drake gonna be Bill Murray. Easy, no question.
That's so good.
No question.
But Bill
Okay.
Murray's also got to be in it.
No. Okay. Larry Bird was like his friend. Like Maverick Carter's probably gonna be that. You know what I'm saying? I say what Patrick Ewing's was. That's Joel Embiid. What Sean Bradley was, that's Giannis. What Larry Johnson was, that's James Harden. What Muggsy Bogues was, that's Kyrie Irving. Okay. What the twist is like? Oh, okay. Where's some Warriors? Steph gonna have to come in last second with LeBron to save whatever's going on in the thing, and Steph gonna be like, "Can I bring the kids?" Aisha said, "I can only come if the kids come." Then all the kids gonna come. It's gonna be a big party, and LeBron and Steph gonna win the day. Light skin, dark skin come together. That's what I think.
A lot to digest there.
Am I wrong? Like, who should be casted there?
Okay, well this is Ashley's suggestions. Okay, 'Cause I'm gonna just keep it all
you,
the way
Ash.
100 because I'm not
Ash
taking.
with
I
the
am not
notes.
taking responsibility for this.
And you
casting.
also said that like, oh, what Brandon just said sounds great. I would love to watch that movie.
I'm a little confused about the Steph Curry twists.
No need to be.
But
Yeah.
so okay. Do you think Magic makes an appearance?
100%.
And you really think Bill Murray is not in it? Bill Murray has to be in it.
He'll be in it, but he'll be like a Stan Lee cameo, like he's the cab driver or something like, oh, that was Bill Murray. That
Who's
type
gonna
of-
play the guy that digs the hole? Who's gonna play the guy
Oh,
from Jurassic Park that gets eaten?
The Newman character? I was thinking, the little black kid from Stranger Things. Caleb, whatever his name is.
It's an adult.
This is going to be geared towards kids, and this isn't going to be made for
I don't
us.
think you understand how casting works. Okay, so
I just
Ashley
cast the
has
whole
suggested
film.
that the Banana Boat crew be Monstars. So that means Chris Paul, Carmelo Anthony, Wade,
So
and
you
then
want-
Gabrielle Union and Lala Anthony would be
So
involved.
LeBron beats them easily in this movie. That's the twist. That's the
Basically.
twist. Yeah.
Yes.
LeBron kills the Monstars.
Or,
Twist of fate.
but really, her lineup for the actual Monstars is better than yours. It's Steph Curry, James Harden, Kevin Durant. Kevin's obviously going to be in it. Giannis and Boban. I really feel like Boban has to be in this movie.
Boban is the Sean Bradley equivalent, if we're being real.
He has to.
Well, I just
I mean, he's a fan fave.
he's got traded.
So what?
I just say okay. I would like to see Boban say any lyrics in a movie. So I'm down. I'm down. Like, but no Monstars, Joy. That's
lines?
the worst. That's the worst suggestion you ever made. No Monstars. What are you doing?
What do you mean no Monstars?
No like a Space Jam 2 sans Monstars. That's like, what are you watching it for?
I'm not saying sans Monstars. I'm saying that it's not going to be they're not going to play a game so that they don't have to go to outer space and play and then perform on Moron Mountain. Like they have to have another twist to the movie.
I don't know why they have to play a game, but they got to play a game. And they got to play the game against the people with the powers.
Played? Yes, there has to be some basketball played, but it's not so that they then become enslaved on Moron Mountain. Either way, I'm excited.
Might be Moron Mountain too.
I'm excited about it.
Yeah,
I'm excited about it. All right, high key. The MVP is super close. This MVP race, and low key, we were very wrong about this because there's no way LeBron James is going to win the MVP this year. That ship has sailed. And Giannis, James Harden, Paul George. LeBron James is still up there. He has the same odds as Steph Curry, Kawhi, Embiid, Durant, Westbrook, and Jokic.
Yeah, well,
but
makes
it's
sense.
basically
LeBron's
between...
a regular All-Star right now. That's what he's acting like, a normal All-Star. He's like, Chris Middleton's All-Star. Oh, did you know Blake Griffin was an All-Star too?
You're very down on LeBron right now, I understand. I think it is between Giannis, James Harden, and Paul George, and I really feel like it's hard to not give it to Giannis. Harden, I feel like it's great. You got an amazing streak.
Yeah.
But I mean, you got Chris Paul is there, and it just feels like it should go to Giannis or Paul George.
Yeah, I think Giannis is going to win one eventually.
It's become like every good player's got to win one. Thing.
Yeah. Well, and also to
Not that they didn't deserve it. Like Westbrook deserved the MVP. Harden deserved the MVP.
Yeah.
But I do also feel like Giannis deserves the MVP. And then Paul George has had an incredible season. Now, Giannis has the #1 record in the league, and they have for a while now. So I feel like that should play a part in it. And everyone's always talks about like, well, what is going to happen in the postseason? It's a regular season award.
Regular season award.
They have one of those for the playoffs. It's
That's
called
why James
Finals
Harden
MVP.
Won. Yeah.
Yes, so stop talking about what happens in the playoffs. What's up?
The Bucks have the #1 record, but they're in the #2 conference. Does that not bother you at all?
It was cute. I like that. It was fine. I liked it. It was
Thanks, guys.
It was commentary. It was commentary. I'm not going to say anything about it.
They have the best record. Like, they have the best record. Everyone plays basketball, and they have the best record.
They played more of the bad teams.
There's some bad teams in the West, too.
It doesn't bother you.
The Greek Freak should win this year. This should be the one time he actually wins, and the rest of his career, he's like X amount of #2s, X amount of #3s.
There's a lot more that can happen in Giannis's career. He's very young.
Yeah.
I'm just saying it's a very close call. As the past couple of years, it's been like this guy's going to win the MVP. Like, this is the MVP. And it feels different this year. Now, Matt did make an interesting point about Kevin Durant, but the Warriors always cannibalize themselves at this point. Like, no one's going to even seriously have that conversation.
Yeah. Durant wants the MVP, Finals MVP.
Right. And whether that's fair or not, fair's for fried ho-hos and funnel cake, okay? I think it will be Giannis, but I do think that Paul George and Harden deserve to be in that conversation very closely. But it's probably going to end up going to Giannis. There's a little bit more basketball to play, though. We'll see. High key, yes. Or low key, whatever you want to call it. Loser Power Rankings. Loser Power Rankings. These are the losers of the week. Ja Rule. So... The Bucks had a 90s night. I really actually need to clear my throat. A 90s night on Saturday. It was a really painfully awkward start to the halftime show. Who knew? Ja Rule, 90s rapper. That was something. Anyway, so basically, if you didn't see it, if you enjoy watching awkward things, which I don't, we discussed being clumsy earlier. Awkward's also not high on my favorite list. Although I work with two of the most awkward people on planet Earth. And you're both dear friends, but you're very awkward, and I try to tell you about it, and you don't listen. The other one is Ashley. Anyway, the start's awkward. The music's not playing. It's very. As someone who works in the media industry, anytime you call for something and it doesn't start, 1 second feels like an eternity.
Ask Colin.
It is.
Yeah.
It is awful.
It's like, we don't have that?
Okay. Yeah. There's truly no words for it. There's nothing. There's truly nothing like it. Yeah. Like a pause can be used in such an influential and special way to create energy and drama, emotion, and then it can be the worst thing that ever happened to the history of your life.
Amen.
And this is one of those situations. Anyway, so the Timberwolves decided to have some fun at Ja Rule's expense, and they tweeted, "We too were hustled, scammed, bamboozled, hoodwinked, led astray," which is funny.
Very funny.
And NBA accounts tend to be good at that stuff. Ja Rule did not appreciate it. He said, "You just jinx yourself talking to the God this way."
Who?
You're cursed now. You won't win a championship for the next 30 years, and Cat is leaving. Apologize now. Lift the curse. Kiss of death. So obviously this is hilarious because
Lil B got on his account.
that's not what happens.
Right.
And you low-key jocking Lil B's whole thing, and low-key really overreacting to like a really funny line. Just have some fun. You know what I mean? Like it's not that serious. We all saw it. Nobody actually thinks it's your fault the music didn't start. It's just happened.
He scammed and frauded people out of millions of dollars, and he can't take some jokes on the back of this. He can't take a little fire.
I mean,
pun intended.
Hey, come on now.
that's obviously the bigger part of it. Is like just go with it, man. It's okay. Like it happens.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate, and everyone had a nice laugh. And also, you're cursing the Timberwolves. Hello.
Yeah.
Okay. So, also, on the loser power rankings, I don't know how this happened, how it's gone here. Again, this was an Ashley edition, but she insisted that this happened. Is there a peg for this, or you just want to talk about pineapple on pizza? Okay, so Ashley has decided that we're just going to talk about pineapple on pizza.
Hey.
I'm very passionate about this. I feel the same way about plastic straws.
Boss move.
It's a no. It's a no for me, dog.
What, plastic? Oh, yeah.
I know.
Okay,
yeah.
now let me get in my
I know
bag.
people get very upset about this paper straw situation. I have a paper straw right here. It's not affecting my life, as you can see.
That's a whole other slander for other days.
The smoothie is going directly into my face with no issues whatsoever. Pineapple on pizza is not a thing that should happen. I disagree with it fundamentally, morally, and ethically. It's wrong.
How? Why?
Because the pineapple is not. First of all, I am not a big sweets and salts at the same time person.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, so my palate doesn't appreciate that.
Of course.
Which is fine. I understand some people like chocolate covered bacon, and chocolate covered pretzels are fun sometimes.
Millions of dollars have been made combining those two things.
Right. Sure.
Millions.
Okay, so lots of people like it, and that's fine. If you want to be weird, I'm not judgy. Okay.
We're a part of the general public.
I like to eat my salt, and
Yeah.
then I enjoy what some would call a dessert, which is the sweets after my meal. Okay, that's how I do it. But whatever. If you
Pineapple the pizza.
No. First of all, there's nothing delicious about soggy hot pineapple. What is wrong with you?
Okay. We don't take the whole pineapple and throw it in the oven, and then
The pineapple pieces become
pieces of
soggy,
pineapple.
and
Just the
they're
bottom half.
warm.
It's a Hawaiian style pizza. It's like anytime you can put pineapple on a
is
pizza,
to be
do it.
consumed cold, fresh.
No.
Okay,
Depends on where you get
unless
it from.
otherwise baked into a sweet, not put on top of marinara sauce and cheese.
Joy. If you ever had a barbecue pizza, they don't use savory barbecues. They use a sweet barbecue under the cheese because everything else is so savory. It's a little treat. It's like
Barbecue
sprinkles.
is not fruit.
I'm gonna lay out there because I don't know the answer to that, but you might be right. I'm saying, she's a picture. So
Oh my God!
No.
What is that?
Ashley's showing a picture of a picture of a DiGiorno pizza covered in
my
lunchroom pineapples. Okay, there's a difference between
That
lunchroom
is
pineapples
horrific.
and pineapples lightly dashed and spread.
If I came to your house and you had that up on your screen, I would leave for fear that you are a serial killer.
Okay, that's not women. So Ashley, do you like pineapples on your pizza?
Of course I do.
Okay.
What do you mean? Of course you do.
Of course I do. Pineapple
It's
on
delicious.
pizza
It's
is
delicious.
delicious.
She also thinks tripping is okay. So the point is, it should not be right. It's not right. It's not right. Okay, hot, soggy pineapple should not be on pizza. It's really not even a discussion I think we should be having in 2019. And
everything
I'm gonna run for president on my campaign slogan is like the no long pizza no pineapple on pizza. That's gonna be my slogan.
Tell. Let's get Obama in here and ask him if he like Hawaiian style pizza.
Okay. You can't ask a politician that. He's gonna give you a politician answer.
Can I ask a Hawaiian?
Fine. All right. Finally, this is a new development. Okay.
What?
They are removing the LeBron sign from outside of the Staples Center.
Why?
I don't know.
They already did.
It's gone. I don't know if it's been replaced yet. We don't have a live view of the building.
Yes,
but
get on that, Ashley.
just a kid. What is it? Just a kid.
Just a kid.
In this-
Just a small town kid with big city dreams.
Just a small town kid with big city dreams. You remember the one that was up in Cleveland was up for 4 years
Yep.
until he left, and they were like, "Nah, I got to come down. We just like look at this big ugly building."
That's fair. Well,
so
bringing up the Cleveland one makes it feel like that's been up long enough because things move in LA. It's a lot of
things
moving
do
parts.
move in LA.
Yeah.
But it's interesting timing. That
It
it's
is
happening.
interesting
It's
timing.
probably not the best call for the changing of it.
No.
Although maybe they had some plans to do some sort of like playoff thingy.
You think they trade LeBron? So, what do you think? I mean,
It's just
Might as well you can
all I'm
get-
saying is people are gonna make a big deal out of this. It's not really the best timing to be
Right.
removing it. Maybe you just pay for the extra time, like until the season's over.
well, we gotta see what goes up there.
Yeah, well, yeah, everyone's gonna wait and see what goes up there because
Yeah.
this is gonna be a story. All right, what's in the MIGOS Culture Report this week?
The results are in, and it looks like people actually watched the Oscars this year. 29 million people tuned in to the hostless Oscars live, which was a 12% increase from last year's awards, which was the lowest in the award show history. This year, the Oscars awarded a number of different diverse winners, including Regina King for Best Supporting Actress, Mahershala Ali for Best Supporting Actor, Alfonso Cuarón for Best Director. Although Black Panther did not win anything for Best Picture, Ruth E. Carter and Hannah Beachler represented well for the film, taking home Oscars for the Best Costume Design
Which I
and the
called.
Best Production Design, making those two black women the two of the three black women that's ever won an Oscar for anything other than acting. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, no.
How is that not
I
crazy?
mean, it's crazy, but it's not surprising at all.
Everyone's still talking about the controversial speeches from Spike Lee's speech headed towards President Trump and a bunch of other stuff, all that other good stuff. Joy, you and I watched the show. What'd you think?
We watched the entire show. We watched the red carpet and through to
I'm
the very
glad.
end.
I'm proud of you.
Yeah, me too. Because I don't
Dedication.
really ever do that. But I told you the Oscars felt like bigger this year. And maybe it was Black Panther.
Clearly was.
But it felt bigger. They don't need a host. I've never understood the concept of an Oscars host because they really only give a monologue, which is filled with very awkward moments where they kind of roast people that don't have any interest in being roasted or criticized in any way.
If they're there, you're there. If you're there, you're there for the smoke. Off the top,
I mean, it
By
just
the- by the-
it always
by the
feels
host.
like nobody's here for this.
the host is just someone to blame things on.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. Don't have a host ever again. You don't need it. You need one big voice to move the show along. You always had presenters anyway. I thought it made the presenters more impactful. If
Yeah,
there wasn't a
it was
host,
something.
right? And I liked all of it. So the show was fun. I really don't. There's nothing that compelling about the show in general. Like the performances usually aren't that great.
Okay, what about this time
We'll get
around?
to it. We'll get to
Okay,
it.
all right now, all right.
But I just like to see who wins.
Yeah.
And then obviously who gives a disastrous speech and the best speech.
Yes.
Just in general, the disaster speeches are always the one where you read 10,000 people's names.
Yes.
Because even though it's very nice to thank everybody, it's also a moment where you can just thank a couple people, like the people that were directly involved in it, and keep it broad, and then say something impactful. Like this is a moment that you're not likely to have again in most cases.
Right.
It's very hard to achieve. And you can use that platform to say something interesting. And I get it that
Or
you're
mention
thanking
some people
everybody.
that people know. 'Cause
Well,
like
wait,
a lot.
that's how you can't help that. Like if you're doing like sound editing, and we don't know any sound
I understand,
editors,
I
you know what I mean?
understand,
And it's like
I
it's their
understand.
moment. They want to thank everybody to help them
Yes.
get there. I get that, but say that for the the press conference afterwards.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Because we want to hear something interesting.
Little
You know what I
interview
mean?
after
Tell
the
us a
award.
story,
Yes.
right? Like the story was interesting. Ryan Coogler and them in college together. I don't
Yes.
know who the guy who won it, but it was a good story.
Ludwig. What's his
Ludwig.
name?
Ludwig.
Yeah, it was
Ludwig.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the Bradley Cooper Lady Gaga performance obviously was that's what I wanted her to do at the Grammys. So maybe I see why
Try to
she
kiss
was
Bradley
theatrical.
Cooper?
No,
Oh.
just it needed to be like a thing. But Bradley Cooper wasn't there
Right.
at the Grammys.
Yeah.
It was great.
What was the performance?
I dare you to say it wasn't great. I dare you to put it on tape.
I mean,
Or what do we use? We use tape, right?
Yeah, tapes, footage,
Cards, memory cards.
DVDs,
Memory cards.
terabytes. Bradley Cooper is a very talented man. I think that goes without saying. Lady Gaga's very talented. The way I started to like Bradley Cooper more the way Lady Gaga was kind of like, I was like, okay, all right, okay, Bradley got something then. If Lady Gaga is fawning over him, because Lady Gaga knows talent.
She does.
I don't know if that's the end of the conversation, but I think they
I
really
also
like
love
each other.
that
They really like each other.
They clearly love each other.
Yeah, they love each other.
And I'm not saying that in an inappropriate way.
No.
There's obvious chemistry there.
Right.
The entire world was talking about it, and that's it. And the performance was great. It was everything I wanted.
They kissed
And
a lot while they were making that song, or like, practicing making that song, or like in the movie, or like I don't know how actors practice kissing a lot.
I don't know.
But
I
like,
love Lady Gaga, and all I know is Lady Gaga is best dressed because if you're wearing a giant golden egg on your neck, it really doesn't matter what anyone else is wearing.
Glenn Close looked great.
Glenn Close look.
Shouts out to the actress, the only person that has the most nominations in Oscar history without winning one.
Yeah.
Glenn Close.
Glenn Close.
Was like Gary Oldman
I'm not
at some
gonna lie.
point in time,
I didn't
but-
see Glenn Close's movie or
No
The
one did.
Favorite.
That's why I didn't win.
But
The wife.
But
Who saw The Wife?
But the woman who won, her speech was her and
Yes.
Spike Lee had the best speeches.
Yes.
She was adorable. Olivia Colman.
Yes.
Yeah, that's her name.
And Spike Lee's been preparing his for years. So.
Yes. And it was great. Anyway, I enjoyed the Oscars. I thought it was fun.
Yeah, that was cool.
And Green Book won, and people were kind of upset about that. Relax. Look, Black Panther should have won.
Oh,
It was
no,
what I
no,
wanted
no,
to win.
okay.
Okay, obviously.
Yeah, but there's something to be said about the Oscars winning. The movies that the Oscars win is just like, I think 84% of the people voting for the Oscars are white. I think the mean age is like 63. So like, if you make a movie that is just like easy digestible, and it's like, oh, these are race relations being fixed just by being in the same room together, they should win an Oscar. It becomes a little problematic over time.
And I agree.
Yeah.
That's why I didn't feel like it should have won. I thought Black Panther should have won. I also thought Vice was incredible. And I actually am surprised Vice didn't win.
Yeah.
But
Roma was great.
Everyone loved Roma. I didn't see it.
It's on Netflix.
I'm gonna watch it eventually. the point with everyone saying about Green Book, and you're right, that was my issue with Green Book, is that it was a really, really good movie, but I didn't feel like it was impactful as it needed to be
Right.
about what times were actually like.
Right.
It was it's slightly worse than portrayed in the movie.
And when Spike should have won
And I
his
thought
Oscar.
Mahershala deserved to win. He was great.
Yeah, no, he's great, and I'm happy that all those people were recognized, and Octavia Spencer, all that stuff. But like, Do the Right Thing, when it was up for an Oscar, it lost to Driving Miss Daisy. This feels a little bit too similar to the situation of the Best Pictures.
I mean, conspiracies sometimes are true.
Time flat circle, would you say?
Time is a flat circle.
Yeah.
Unless it's True Detective, because I haven't watched the last 4 episodes. All right, thanks for joining us this week. We appreciate it. Thanks to Matt Barnes for coming on and dropping some basketball knowledge. Very optimistic basketball knowledge this time around.
Yeah, it was. Did he give us anything about what the Lakers are going to do? Like, what are the Lakers going to do?
We're all just gonna have to watch and find out. Yeah. That's what's gonna happen. But we appreciate it. Make sure that you subscribe on YouTube. Maybe I'm Crazy Podcast.
Do that.
Like us on all of our pages or follow.
Please.
At Maybe Crazy Pod, Newman Show 99, Joy Taylor Talks. We appreciate it, and we'll catch you next week.
Bye.
Maybe I'm crazy, maybe I'm crazy, maybe I'm not.